draft, excuse me. And what they're doing with him at Durham right now is they're pitching him just enough to keep him stretched out. His first start, 62 pitches. His second start, 65 pitches. And in both of these outings, he threw 6 innings. He's getting the most for his buck, so to speak, right? And he's pitching great. And when he comes up, he's going to be in that rotation. It's just going to add another bullet to the gun and look out for Tampa Bay going forward. I think they win the East. I really do. I know the Yankees are getting players back. I know I'm a Yankees fan, but I got to look at it like it is. I think Tampa Bay wins the East this year. Now, yesterday I did a little moment of silence for Big Papi. He's still not out of the woods. We need to keep him in our thoughts and prayers. And something really special happened at Boston last night before the game started between the Red Sox and the Texas Rangers.
All of us were shocked by last night's news about David Ortiz, and our community has felt a palpable concern ever since. As befits his outsized personality, wishes for a speedy recovery have poured in from all over baseball, from the world of sports, and even from respected world leaders. He is loved throughout our nation and beyond, yet to us, he is our own adopted son. Won't you please join us as we offer a moment of reflection, thought, and prayer for a complete healing and a full recovery for our beloved Big Papi.
A moment of silence last night before Boston took the field against Texas. The Rangers won the game 4-3, but it wasn't due to any fault of Chris Sale. If you thought Chris Sale was done, then, well, guess what? Wrong. So wrong. Sale, last night, coming off a 9-inning shutout last Wednesday where he walked none and struck out 10. Last night, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, and 10 strikeouts for Chris Sale. I mean, wow. He is so back. But Boston now trails Tampa Bay by 8 games. Okay? And in the wild card, they're playing the Rangers. 4 games in Boston. And they lose on the night that Chris Sale pitches. Boston's 34-33. Texas is 35-30. They are leading for that second wild card, the Texas Rangers right now. And they're leading by 2 games over Boston. I know it's just June, but it's still games that you're playing your competition and you need to win. So, Boston. Now, here's the thing I want to talk about. But we talk about the Nats. They're only 6 games out. Boston's 8. Why aren't we talking about Boston in the same way we're talking about the Nats? Is Boston going to be a seller at the trade deadline this year? That's something to think about. Can you imagine? Or are they going to be buyers? And I think that's more likely. I think they're going to be a buyer. I think they're going to make a big splash. Look for Boston to go out and make a big trade. I don't know what the package could be. I don't know who will be included. But look for Boston to make a big trade to get back into the wild card, if not into the American League East conversation of leaders. They're just too good. They got too much talent on that team. So let's keep our eye on the Red Sox. Lenny said whoever said McKay was coming up soon is guessing. It may be Lenny. I'll talk to you after the show. But it was a former general manager in the major leagues. And I heard it yesterday. And he was really convinced he was coming up soon. So, I don't know. We'll see. But if McKay comes up, he's really good. We'll see. Let's look at the rest of the divisions. The Central, Minnesota continues on with a 10.5 game lead. They play at home today against Seattle. Cleveland, 10.5 out. At home today against Cincinnati. It's rivalry day in Major League Baseball. The White Sox are home against Washington. They're 12.5 out, and Detroit 18 games out at Kansas City, who is 23.5 games behind the Minnesota Twins. In the American League West, the Astros continue to lead. They were off yesterday. They're home today, as I said earlier, against the Brewers. They're 45-22, the best record in the American League. They've won 8 out of 10. They are 24-9 at home and 21-13 on the road. The best home record in the American League. Texas 35-30. They've won 7 of 10. They won again at Fenway Park last night in Boston, and today they play the Red Sox again. Oakland 12 games out. They're at Tampa Bay, and they lost yesterday there. And then the Angels and the Dodgers continue the Freeway Series. You know, Mike Trout, he's still Mike Trout, right? The Angels beat the Dodgers last night, and Trout hits a 2-run homer to just put the Angels on top, and they win. You know, the thing about Trout in fantasy, and here's why he's number one. He's the number one player in fantasy because he's so consistent. Trout doesn't have those weeks of no hits. He hits homers, and he's just, an incredible player, reality, fantasy, and I just got to give him some kudos and talk about the best player in the game. He's now hitting an even 300, 51 runs scored on a team that doesn't score a lot of runs, 18 homers, 44 RBIs, 7 stolen bases. The beat goes on for Mike Trout. I want to talk about some rookies. Let's go down to the farm for just a minute before we get into today's game and projections on what might happen today. In the American League East, as far as prospects, I want to talk about, and these are for you guys who play in dynasty leagues. Just some food for thought, okay? Yeah, Lenny, you guessed it. Jim Bowden's the guy, and you've said he has good sources. He's the one who said McKay was coming up really soon. So we'll keep our eye on that. I just thought I'd share that with everybody. I've seen him pitch. He is incredible. McKay is an incredible talent. He's not just somebody that they'll bring up and have a spot start. If they bring him up, DK Lush, this guy is going to stick. So if he's available in any of your leagues, get him. I added him last night. I added him I'm not in a dynasty league, okay? So we'll see. Cha-cha, I love it. And that's right. He's not always right either, huh? But I thought that was interesting that he said that yesterday, so that's why I'm passing that along. Let's move on. Lenny mentioned several prospects to look at. The Mets pitcher, I'm going to try to add to that, not taking away, but adding to it. Here, for dynasty purposes, Grayson Rodriguez. He's the Orioles' number 4 pitching prospect. Pitched yesterday for Class A Delmarva. Looked really good. He did throw a lot of pitches yesterday. He's the 2018 first rounder. He allowed just 1 hit over 4 innings. And he threw 93 pitches in 4 innings, but he struck out 6. So I'm not quite sure the problem there. But he's got a 2.42 ERA, 72 strikeouts, and a 177 opponent's average over 52 innings. This is his first full season. I like Grayson Rodriguez, and he plays in the Carolina League, and I've actually seen him pitch. Okay, really good presence on the mound, big kid, throws hard. Also, I want to mention another Rays prospect, Joe McCarthy. He's an outfielder. He had been injured. He started the season with a back ailment. He went 1 for 11 coming off the IL of his first 3 games, but he's now beginning to find his groove. He's 3 for 9 with a homer of the past 2 days. McCarthy is one of these guys I could see the Rays, if they have an injury, calling him up. So keep your eye on him. Here's another guy in the East that I really like, Tristan Casas. He's first base, third baseman for the Red Sox. He's at Class A ball right now, okay? He's a first-round pick from last year's draft. Last night he went 4 for 5 with a homer, a double, 4 RBIs. If you've got and I've seen this kid play too, if you have a dynasty team, Tristan Casas is a guy that you may want to look at adding, okay? Here's another kid, and I really like this guy. He plays at Burlington here in North Carolina, Jordan Adams. He's a North Carolina kid, okay? He's a 2018 first-round pick. He went 3 for 4 with a walk and a stolen base for Class A Burlington last night. I think I'm going to go to Burlington soon and watch him play again. He has a 6-game hit streak. He's only 19 years of age. He got off to a slow start, hitting 182 in April, but he hit 296 in May. A great athlete, a great hitter, power, runner. He does it all. Just a kid you want to keep your eye on. And then finally, as far as prospects go, Ian Anderson for the Braves. He's their number 3 prospect. He pitched at Double-A Mississippi last night. He threw 5 innings, 9 strikeouts. He leads the Southern League with 86 strikeouts after racking up 9 for the 3rd time over his past 4 starts. He's a 21-year-old. He's a 2016 first-round draft pick. Surrendered 1 run in 4 of his past 5 starts. And so those are just some guys. Oh, let me throw one more in there because I really think this guy may be up next year. Taylor Trammell for the Reds. He went 3 for 4 last night for Double-A Chattanooga. Looks really good. He's 21 years of age. He's batting .292 with an .846 OPS. So he has slumped a little bit lately, but great talent as we go forward. So those are some players. Looking at the chat room, when will Bichette be up? You know, he had that injury, and so now you've given me some homework to do, Jackie. I will have to do a little homework on Bichette, and that will be my next show, which is tonight at 6. How about that? So let's talk about Bo Bichette tonight at 6 o'clock. Come back to the network. I'll have you some information on Bichette. We'll find out what his story is going forward. Mark says, please play Rodriguez isn't another Bundy Gosman. I hope he's not another Gosman. How about that? So we'll see. Phil Chappie says that Bichette is rehabbing, and that's what I thought, Chappie, I'm not sure when the projection is. The last thing I saw was sometime in July for Bichette. If you know more than that, let me know. But I've heard and read that Bichette may be up in July around the All-Star break or shortly thereafter with the Blue Jays. So, but you may know more than that. I haven't researched it this morning, but I will stay on it. That will be my job for today to find out about Bo Bichette. How about that? Let's talk about some games. You ready? The Yankees and Mets play a doubleheader today in the Bronx. The first game's at 1:05 between Zach Wheeler and Masahiro Tanaka. Wheeler's 5-3, Tanaka's 3-5. That game again starts at 1:05. And as far as stats go, Yankee batters, I have no sample size for you of 10 at-bats or more, so I'm not going to give you anything. The only thing I have on Mets batters against Tanaka, this one's kind of surprising, right? Carlos Gomez is 3 for 10 in his career against Tanaka. I don't even know if Gomez will play, okay? But I will give you another one to somebody to look out for. I talked about this yesterday. When I taught my show yesterday morning, did not know the game would rain out. But we talked about Todd Frazier on yesterday's show, remember? And Frazier's been hot lately. Career-wise, though, he's 1 for 10 against Tanaka. So what do you take of that? Do you take away that he's not going to, you think he won't play well today because he's historically not performed well against Tanaka? Or do you take away he's due? And, you know, you got a hot hitter coming into a game. He'll probably start game 1. You know, I like him against his former teammate, the New York Yankees. I like Todd Frazier today. Let's see how it works out for him. In game 2, it'll be Jason Vargas against Big Maple. Big Maple. James Paxton pitching for the Yankees in game 2. Vargas is 2-3, coming off a complete game in his last start. Paxton is 3-2. And I do have a little bit of information here on batters against these pitchers. Okay, first of all, I've got Brett Gardner, who is 4 for 13. That's a 308 average against Vargas. I've got Aaron Hicks, who is 4 for 14 against Vargas. And Kendrys Morales, who is 6 for 28. So take of that what you will. Hicks has been hitting the ball a little better lately. Gardner with the busted lip. Gritty. I love these tough players, don't you? But Gardner and Hicks probably will both play. Keep your eye on those two guys. And for the Mets in Game 2, it's the same situation. The only player with 10 or more at-bats is Carlos Gomez. He's 3 for 12 career against James Paxton. That's